Not only are the theme park wars continuing to heat up, but they're going global, as we have some interesting new developments from Disney that were just announced at D23 Japan. They were light on other announcements. They had a Kingdom Hearts announcement that got a lot of attention, but they didn't have any of the big movie reveals. But they have a lot of movie reveals when it comes to theme park planning. Now let's back up a little bit here for those of you who are new to the theme park wars. And that's the idea, to get people who normally wouldn't go to a theme park to go. And Universal was the real game changer there. For decades, since pretty much theme parks, well, at the level they operate today, were invented by Walt Disney himself, they were dominant in the field. But then Universal came along with the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And suddenly, people who swore they would never go to a stupid theme park found themselves happily coughing up wads of cash. So Disney has been looking to leverage their own more adult, male-friendly brands. You know, of course, women like these new additions as well, but they have been working very hard to get guys more interested in attending the theme parks. Now, you might also be wondering, where the heck is the DC properties in all this, right? Well, for some reason, Warner Brothers continues to only leverage them at Six Flags theme parks with pretty much no theming. But they are putting a better foot forward in Dubai, where they're doing extensive theming with an upcoming theme park. They've recently announced a Green Lantern ride, of all things, although it rips off Soarin' technology from Disney, which I think is interesting. Don't they have a patent on that? I don't know how that's possible. And then they're going to have a Justice League ride there, which is pretty much the exact same technology that's used at Universal Studios. So they're ripping off all the theme parks when it comes to their Spider-Man and Transformers rides. Although I have to say, that technology is pretty cool. And I wonder why Disney never ripped it off. I don't know. Maybe Disney's trying to hold their head high, but you can see the gloves are coming off more and more. Also, Disney's already had some success with Pandora, the world of Pandora at Animal Kingdom. Hugely successful. Features the best ride I've ever been on, Flights of Passage. It continues to have a 4-hour line. That's a Universal level line. And I'm thinking if Black Panther does really well, as is expected, maybe we'll get a Wakanda land added to Animal Kingdom. It seems like a no-brainer. But that's further off. These are things that we're going to discuss today that are definitely happening. Now, first up, we got a new artist's rendering of the Immersive Star Wars resort that's coming to Walt Disney World. But we also got, finally, a location on the resort property. And that's going to be right next to Disney's Hollywood Studios, where they're building Galaxy's Edge, because it says that the hotel will be attached to the theme park to allow guaranteed access for guests, because I think this will be the first land, because right now anyone can walk into Pandora whenever they want. It's just the ride itself that has a very long line. But if you want to get into Wizarding World of Harry Potter, sometimes you have to stand on a line to get into the land itself. And I think this will be the first time that happens at a Disney property. Very exciting, but also potentially quite frustrating if you plan your whole trip around getting into Galaxy's Edge. But you can solve all that by staying at the Star Wars Hotel. If you haven't heard about this yet, it's again an immersive experience where you will probably be having to sign up for a 2-day package, and then you can transfer to another resort if you want to stay longer. And you'll be placed into an actual storyline, and you have the option of even dressing up in character. It sounds pretty freaking amazing. And if it does well enough, I'm sure Disney will do other immersive experiences, as will other theme parks. They'll get copied. Now, also at Walt Disney World, while they're keeping the same exterior, it's crazy how cheap Disney can be sometimes. The inside of the former Ellen's Energy Adventure will get a total makeover as it becomes a Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster. Now, it's being called a quote-unquote family attraction, which likely means an all-ages roller coaster, but one that promises an innovative ride system sure to quote-unquote wow guests. This is where there's some kind of weird loading or movement in the ride to make it really stand out. For instance, an innovative ride system with the Snow White roller coaster that they currently have opened in Magic Kingdom, very popular, also has a very long line. Disney has Fast Pass, though. You can book a reservation in advance. If you're staying at the hotel, you get earlier access. If you have an annual pass, you get a shorter window, but you still get advance access. But anyway, that has cars that have like this weird swivel, in addition to running on the track. So I'm thinking something like that. It could also maybe be something a little bit like Crush's Coaster in Paris, where the ride itself spins in an opposite direction of the track of the roller coaster. Super barfy. I rode that when I was at Disneyland Paris this past summer, and it actually was a lot of fun. It was not too barfy. Now, this is just part of what is a park-wide makeover for Epcot, which in addition to the Guardians of the Galaxy ride and the Frozen ride, which just recently opened, it was announced as getting Paris's Ratatouille ride in addition at the French Pavilion. Now, I'm wondering, with all these changes, will the park still retain its educational aspects? I think that's always been one of the nicest things about Epcot, but of course they have to make sure people want to go there, especially as Universal forces people to have to make tougher and tougher decisions economically about what theme parks they can afford to go to. Now, Epcot used to have a secret weapon in that they only served alcohol on the Disney property beyond the resorts at World Showcase, but now you can get alcohol anywhere in the in any Disney theme park, so Epcot no longer has that going for them. Also, we got a look at the Alien Swirling Saucers, which is opening this summer as part of the new Toy Story Land and Hollywood Studios. That was revealed to be the least visited park, even less than Animal Kingdom, so that's why it's getting both Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge in 2019. Then over on the West Coast, we have more Pixar news as we got a better idea of what Pixar Pier will look like. This was the former Paradise Pier, which is now totally Pixar themed. It will have neighborhoods representing Toy Story, because it has Toy Story Mania there. That's the big ride in that section of the park. Also Inside Out, which I think is an interesting choice. And of course, The Incredibles. And the other big attraction in that land, the roller coaster they have there, that is getting reskinned in a fashion likely similar to how I think Space Mountain was recently reskinned to become Star Wars themed at Disneyland. That's pretty good. You can't beat having Star Wars music when you're in there, but it's a very light reskinning. Also, The Incredibles are getting a float added to the Paint the Night parade, but unfortunately, it's just from this concept art, you can see that there's no hints about the upcoming sequel, right? It just seems to be that transition of the very last scene of the first film, which we've been told will be the first scene of the second film. Then Disneyland Paris is getting a heavy dose of Marvel. The Hotel New York will have several rooms redone to be now dubbed the Art of Marvel, and will have Marvel branding within. It's a light branding, but they're hoping it's enough to entice you. I mean, if it's not Stark Enterprises, right? Or, I don't know, Cap's bunker, that would be even better. Or just the Avengers building, right? Perhaps if the Star Wars immersive experience works out. But right now, it's just the Art of Marvel. But then Rock and Roller Coaster will also be reskinned, Avengers style, and at least for now, Robert Downey Jr. is still managing to be front and center, just as he is with the Marvel ride in Hong Kong. Now, for those of you who are wondering, like, hey, Hollywood Studios has a Rock and Roller Coaster, is it going to get reskinned? I don't think anytime soon, because of that exclusive deal that Universal has for Islands of Adventure with their own Marvel land. I don't know how they're getting around that with Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe they're so off the main characters of Marvel, it works out. But I don't know why Disney, with all the money that they're willing to spend, sometimes, we'll talk about the cheapness of reskinning in just a minute and why they do it, but they spend the money if they absolutely need to, and I don't know why they haven't wrestled that away from Universal or paid for it, just aggressively written a check to get the Marvel characters at the Orlando resort, because it's still their biggest property to date, although Shanghai is pretty freaking big as well. Now, again, why reskin? Why not just build new rides from the ground up? Well, because it's not only cheaper, but faster. I mean, you can see how long it's taking to build Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, right? That's such a big potential gold mine for Disney that they're willing to make from the ground up effort. But in the other instances, if you take a ride that's already has a building and a set track, well, then Disney can turn it into a new attraction relatively quickly. Sometimes it's clearly a quick reskinning, again, like Space Mountain. And then sometimes I think you have a situation like Guardians of the Galaxy in Disneyland, where they took the Tower of Terror, and it seems like they forced one concept onto another. The line part of the attraction, I think, works pretty darn well, but I think that once the ride gets going, they kind of sucked all the magic out of it, except for Rocket. Rocket Raccoon is awesome. They did a very nice job with that animatronic. But Frozen, even though fans of the original Norway ride can totally see the ghost of that when they ride it, myself included, I think overall it's quite a successful reskinning. So here's hoping that will be the case with these attractions. So I'm wondering, how does this all sound to you? From hardcore theme park fans like myself to those of you who are non-fans, do you think this might finally get you to go to a Disney theme park? They did just raise their prices. And also, do you think that Warner Brothers has a huge missed opportunity here, not either opening their own theme parks, beyond Dubai, or licensing it to Universal, which is, very eager to get properties to keep competing with Disney as Disney ups the game on their end. I think for a while they were thinking of maybe getting Hunger Games at Universal perhaps, but that never panned out. I think I hope that Universal, because Harry Potter is a Warner Brothers property. I hope that they're reaching out to Warner Brothers saying, please give us the DC properties to create another land at our theme parks. We already have the infrastructure and the people coming for the Harry Potter experience already. But then you have to wonder, Warner Brothers is like, why didn't we build our own theme parks? Too late. You already gave up Harry Potter. Let's just build up the IP, and I'm sure they get a cut of the profits. All right, so that's my report on the latest developments when it comes to theme parks and moviedom. Share your own thoughts down below, and you can check out some more episodes right now.